Hello, chess friends. Today we are going to see three games from the 100 classical attacking games. So let's start. The first game is between Tolosh and Botvinnik. Tolosh and Botvinnik, two super strong players. So let's start the game. Uh, the game started with d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5. Bishop f4, bishop g7, everything okay. e3, castle, rook c1, c5, d into c5, queen e5. Botvinnik is giving away a pawn for some initiative. Now c into d5, rook to d8, queen to d2, knight into d5, bishop to c7. Interesting tactic if you take it with the knight, then this d8 hangs. And well, if you take it with the queen, then d5 hangs. So you can't do that. Queen into c7, knight into d5, and now find the amazing move. The move is rook into d5. What an amazing move it is. Why? Well, because you are sacrificing the rook for a bishop. Like this rook is just undefended, this queen can eat it. But no, it's not. Queen into d5, bishop e6 for developing the bishop. Queen to d2, knight to c6, now developing the knight. Rook to d1, rook to d8, now developing the rook. Black is constantly developing his pieces. Queen c1, queen a5 check, now getting the queen into the action. Rook to d2, rook to d5, setting rook into c5. He does not give white even a breath to take, yeah. Like he is constantly attacking and attacking. Now knight to e2, rook into c5, knight to c3, bishop into c3, b into c3, and rook into c3. So everything final till now. Queen b2, rook a3. This a2 is attacked. Yeah, the a2 pawn. Now queen to b5, queen to c3. Now black is threatening threats like rook into a2, queen to c1 check, and many more. Queen b2. White says that I will exchange my queen, but black is no, not now. He plays queen c5. Queen to b1. White just moves his queen to defend the a2 pawn. Now bishop into a2. This is brilliant. I mean, you have just hanged your bishop for free. That's a very daring step to take, yeah. And this rook into d5 sacrifice on the 11th move was also won. So well, now rook into a2, queen to a5 check, attacking the king and also attacking the rook. Only move rook to d2. But now little tactic. Can you see it? Well, rook to a1, just pinning the queen. Queen into a1. White has to give the queen. White has to give. So rook into b1 check. Bishop into d4, knight e5. Queen into b1 could also lead to these kind of circumstances. Both were equally bad. So knight e5, king to e2, queen b5 check. Now the king has to go. Now the bishop has to interfere. Bishop to d3. But now black just takes, and a5. e5 was also an interesting alternative, but a5 just nails the game. rook rook a hd1 or rook to d1 because this is pinned. So queen to c4. Now king to f3. The king moves away from the pin. b5, black advances his pawn steadily. Rook to d7. b4 doesn't care about the pawn. Now rook to a7. a4 also doesn't care. If you take here, then if you take on a4, then queen c6 check would just win. Yeah, like this, a fork. So you can't take the pawn on a4. This pawn is immune. Rook to d8 check, king to d7, rook d8, a3, g3, queen to b5. And well, white resigned. Why? Because b3, then b2, then a2 is threatened. So that's why white resigned. Amazing game by Botvinnik. Let's move on to the next one. Koto versus Boleslavsky. Good matchup, but Koto is a strong player than Boleslavsky, but still Boleslavsky nailed in this game. They both are strong, but Koto has a very much knowledge. Yeah, he has written his think like a grandmaster, play like a grandmaster, and train like a grandmaster series of 3 books. Yeah. So let's start. d4, knight f6, bishop g5, knight e4, bishop f4, d5 is one more, but d6 is the more solid. f3, white wants to form a great center. Knight f6, e4, but at this cost he like weakens this diagonal. This is little bit bad. Now g6, queen d2, knight bd7, bishop to h6. White wants to exchange, black takes, c5. Now the problem is that white's queen is little bit offside, so black wants to get some like material out of it. So c3, queen b6, queen d2. White goes back, but now it's a little late. C into d4, c into d4, e5. White's king is in the center. It's more weak than black's. So black keeps on striking the center again and again. So now knight a3, white develops the knight d5, again striking the center. Black wants to just open the center for all. D into e5, knight into e5, bishop b5 check. Now black says who will block and do everything. He just plays king f8. He wants to tuck his king to g7 and then continue the attack. E into d5, king to g7 according to his plan. Knight e2, a6. The problem is that white cannot short castle and long castle is too too risky. I mean, a6, bishop c4, rook to e8. The king is in the center. The rook is looking at the king, wanting to do some discoveries. Now rook to d1, bishop to h3. What a move! It would be like I was moving my bishop to f5. Oh, it slides to h3. Oh, mouse slip. But no, it's not a mouse slip. Yeah, it is a actual brilliancy. Why? Because if you take here on h3, g into h3, then knight into f3 check. And now this queen is fork, and this king is also. So white said, well then I will tuck my king to f1. But now knight into f3. These both it seems like these both pieces have entered in a fork. Yeah, this pawn has forked these both pieces, but you are wrong. Because this queen is attacked, you can't capture this knight because this bishop has pinned. It's a complete chaos in the position. Queen f4, knight to g4, threatening mate at f2, like this. So queen into f3. had to be taken. Yeah, knight to g4 is also brilliant because you just sacrifice a knight here. Queen into f3, knight to e3 check, forking the king and the rook. King to e1, bishop into g2. Now this rook is under attack. This queen is under attack. Yeah, this rook is under attack. All the major pieces are under attack. Like, what is happening in this position? It's pure chaos here. So queen to f2, bishop into h1, rook to d3, queen to b4 check, rook to d2. Now the position has little bit simplified that black is now an exchange up. Rook a c8 attacking the c4 bishop. It's not clear how white will protect it. Bishop to b3, bishop into d5, good sacrifice, but it's also temporary. Bishop into d5, knight into d5, queen d4 check, queen into d4, rook into d4, knight to f6, and white resigned. Why? Because he is rook and a pawn down. Black has three pawn. Sorry, he is rook and two pawns down. Uh, White has one pawn on this side. Black has three. Yeah. Now white has two pawns on this side. Black also has two. So he is two pawns up and also exchange up means a rook for a knight up. So that's why white resigned. Moving on to the next game. The next game is between Fischer and Robert. Uh, Mr. Robert James Fischer, what to say about his style? One more attacking victory by him. So let's start. E4, D5, the Scandinavian. Not a decent choice for black. E into D5, queen into D5, knight C3, and white punishes it severely. Queen to D8, D4, G6, bishop F4. This is known as the most like the best way to play against the Scandinavian. Queen to d2. Interesting pawn sacrifice, but it's also temporary. If you take with the queen, then I also take with my queen. Then you take with your bishop. Take the c7 pawn. Like it's like this. Takes queen into d4, queen into d4, bishop into d4, and then at last the c7 hangs. Or else you can also play. You have a stronger move here. I think knight to b5 or knight to d5 should also suffice. Like knight to d5 I think is more good because it's attacking the bishop also. Is better. Yeah, knight to b5. Knight to d5 is also equally better. Long castle. Knight f6, long castle, c6. Bishop to h6. White exchanges the fiancé to bishop. Wants to do it. Castle h4. Planning the pawn march, queen e5, h5, g into h5. You should never take the pawn like this. This is bad, very bad. Never do it again. Robert Stiles did this very bad mistake of doing it. Bishop to d3, knight b d7, knight to e2, rook to d8, g4, knight to f8, g into h5. White also chops down the h pawn. Knight to e6, rook d g1. Now the g file is really under a lot of fire. King to h8, black took his king to safety. Bishop into g7 check, knight into g7, queen to h6. Now this g7 knight is just under attack. So rook to g8, rook to g5, wanting to double on the g file. Queen to d2, rook at g1, knight f5, bishop into f5. And black resigned. Just a scintillating victory for Mr. Fischer. So this G4 sacrifice was really good. I mean, yeah, and the way he converted this G into H5 mistake was also remarkable. So these were the three games. Today is the birthday of George Washington. George Washington was the first Prime Minister of United States. He was one of the founding fathers of the United States. Why? Because he helped a lot to draft the Constitution. Yeah, and he is also called as the father of his country because he also was a military leader who led his squad through the American Revolution. He served as the first president of the United States for two terms from 1789 to 1797. Yeah, so well, he died on in 1799, but his legacy still continues today. So, mm, this were okay. So I hope you liked it. Don't forget to just comment bell icon. Thank you.